Blah.
We know that Glenn Danzig is a lot of things, guys. He is a lot of things. He's a musician. He's a singer. He's a songwriter. He plays guitar, bass, drums. He plays the piano. He's a composer. He is a writer. He is a director. He is an actor. He was a record label owner and runner. He's a graphic artist. He's a photographer. And he does illustration. He runs a comic book company. He's an art dealer. For better or for worse, he does it all. It's really kind of weird to think that Glenn Danzig was also a movie critic. That's right. Glenn Danzig, for a period of time in the early 80s, wrote these tiny little movie blurb reviews for Flipside Magazine.
If you don't know what this one is, what the fuck you doing here?
An iconic, a seminal iconic anthology. One of my favorite films, Creepshow. But yes, I would say that Glenn's reaction to Creepshow is shocking to me. He writes, "Big letdown from George Romero, the guy who made Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. The stories aren't scary. The movie isn't gory, and the special effects are wasted by the stupid red and blue lighting effects. They flash red and blue lights whenever it gets a little vigilant. There are 5 stories in all, but the opening of the movie kicks ass on all of them. The crate and they're creeping up on you are the standouts in an otherwise slow film." You know, I wonder, I'm sure Glenn has changed his tune about Creepshow now. I would think maybe at that time, maybe Glenn started to get an appreciation for things, even if they didn't have gore later in his life. But I would imagine by now that Glenn has an appreciation for what is considered an unbridled classic like Creepshow. Night of the Living Dead had a huge influence on Glenn, not just by writing the song, but my friend interviewed Glenn Danzig for this George Romero documentary. In the interview, which I wish I still had a copy of, I have the transcript that I transcribed, but I don't have the video of it anymore. Glenn Danzig just talks at length about George Romero and how much George Romero influenced him. And he goes into how, you know, they used to project, one of the films they would project that the Misfits would burst out of the screen, really starting in 1979, was Night of the Living Dead. They would burst out of the screen and then go into the song. And we talked about this. They did this for the Irving Plaza show as well. Yeah, it was just a movie. They put white construction paper in front of the stage, and then they would project Night of the Living Dead and burst through the paper at a certain point and just start playing. The band would start playing. And yeah, I love, man, Creepshow is phenomenal. Glenn, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, like, for someone who's really into comic books, like, come on, Glenn, like you couldn't see the connection there? I don't get it.